Now 5:34 in the PM. Welcome to Central Consolidated School District's work session here at the Shiprock Boardroom. The work session board meeting will be broadcast live through live stream on the Central Consolidated School District YouTube channel. Item number 1, routine matters, call meeting to order to verify a quorum online. Ms. Aspis.
Here.
Mr. So.
It's Scott So, and I am present.
He's present.
Okay. Ms. Haskey? Ms. Montoya?
I'm here.
And myself. Again, the time is 5:35 now. We'll go ahead and start the meeting. Item 2, reports, no board actions. A, Panorama State Survey by Michelle Thur, Amy Connolly, and Mr. Deswood. Ms. Connolly, the floor is yours.
Okay, good.
Okay. This is done. Hello? Okay. It's working. It's working. All right, so tonight we are presenting on the Panorama 3-year trend. Just a little bit of background. It was formerly known as the Youth Forward and Quality for Education Survey. NMPED has conducted this survey since 2008. It is under New Mexico code. The purpose of it is to provide NMPED with support, with a way to identify ways that they can help support school districts with their social emotional learning. It helps to act on the data by disaggregating that data. It allows them to identify areas where they can grow. It centers around academics, behavior, attendance data to develop interventions that's going to support the whole child holistically. Next slide. Oops. So those who take the survey, it's for staff, teachers, and families, and it's for all students grades 3 through 12. It is broken down between 3 through 5 and then 6 through 12. It's taken each year in May. It is an online survey that is taken. One thing to really note, especially as we look at the data, is that not every matrix, not every survey question was the same across all 3 years. There is a playbook that is available to the district, to teachers, for those supports and to develop those interventions. It's quite extensive. And it allows us to address the social emotional needs, not just for the student in the school, but for the student growing and for life. So if you'll go to the next slide. On the teacher slide, this slide shows that there has been, for teachers, there's been a steady increase, especially for how teachers see the school climate. That's had real growth. And educating all students. So how they, 75% feel that all students have been educated proficiently and appropriately. As you can see, there's some of those matrices that haven't been surveyed across all 3 years. Next slide. For the staff surveys, this is reflective as well. Again, not all, it's hard to measure the data whenever you don't have the same questions across all 3 years, but it does give us a gauge as far as how the feelings are. And you do have an increase for the school climate, which is, again, is a positive for staff overall. You also have in the well-being of a staff, how they see, you see that increase to 72% in how they feel that they are being supported and the well-being, how their well-being is being addressed by the district. So again, that's a very good positive. Next slide. For students grades 3 through 5, this does show a downward trend across these matrices. You do see a decline in overall school climate, school safety, self-management, and a sense of belonging. So this again is good data where we can take that information, we can go to the playbook, we can work together in our buildings and as a district as a whole. Next slide. For students grades 6 through 12, again, not all the same questions were asked and addressed. You do see some downward trends for self-management, school safety, but you do see increases with students' sense of belonging, how they feel being accepted, and also in the school climate. Next slide. The last slide is the survey questions that family members answer. And this is reflective of, not as reflective of the students, kind of a difference in how the student is feeling and what their perspective is, and the family members, but it is reflective of the staff and teachers. We do see an increase with the school climate. Well, 63% in 2024 to 61% in 2025, and then back to 63% for 2026. You do see an increase in how family members feel that the school is safe, and that is at 63%. And then barriers to engagement. You do see an increase on this one, but again, that's data that we can drill down into. We can look and see, okay, what are those barriers? There's various, that can encompass so many different aspects, whether it be engagement specifically in the classroom or engagement, barriers to getting to school. So, do you have any questions for me?
Let me open it up to the board. Mr. So, any questions?
Yes, so out of all the schools, are there any schools that have a that are outliers in the respect that they're in the upward trend, based on what you've seen or have observed?
I don't have that data in front of me right now, but I could definitely get that information for you.
Okay. So as a district, the downward trend is what I think I would be concerned about. Has the district taken steps to look at what are some of the underlying causes or factors behind that movement and in the opposite direction? Thank you.
I didn't understand all of it.
Yeah, go ahead, Superintendent.
Thank you for that, Mr. So. Yeah, we've had discussions. We will continue to have them in terms of those trends, especially the one for the third through fifth grade students that actually regressed. I believe that's the one that went down the most, correct?
Yes.
And so we're
Yes,
having
sir.
conversations with the building principals in all those elementary schools. And we would like to see all these increase. Every one of these should be on the rise, and the metrics that are consistent from year to year. I should note that board members actually have information that everybody doesn't have. So those of you who are listening in or in the audience, the board members do have individual school data at their disposal, I believe on BoardDocs, but also from an email. So if you want to look at that for your individual schools, obviously you can do that. I don't believe that it's trend data. Am I correct? It's just last year's? Because there's so much data. Okay, May 2026. Thank you, Mr. So.
One thing to note, however, even though you might see some downward trend, we are still above 50%. Our students as a whole, everywhere the majority of them feel good in school, they feel welcome in school. Some of those components of self-management is one that's a very personal question for students, kind of a difficult one for students in third grade to answer.
Anything else, Mr. So?
Not at this point. Thank you.
Ms. Aspis?
Can we put up the last screen? The last slide? I believe the last one showed like in the 30s.
Oh.
Okay. In your data, are you striving for 80? That top line?
No.
And is there anywhere else that you're applying this?
Yeah.
In the other district, and as you were saying that most of them were at 50, and I see, school climate, they're under 50. Can you answer that, please?
So 80 is not, well, we're not just striving for 80, we're striving for higher, of course, always. But the graph here is capped at 80% so that the graph can be larger for you to see as far as percentiles go. And I understand what you're saying with some of these below 50%. Some of them are lower than 50% on specific areas, but overall, our students, according to the survey overall, have a feeling of over 50% that they are comfortable in our district, that we're doing, we're meeting their needs social and emotionally. I hope that helped.
Okay, and, I just find it surprising. I think, I believe in the last, these 3 years, that there's been more, such as career readiness, opportunities, and then even more so this last term. And so I find it interesting that that it turned out that way. And are you planning to do this in the future again for the next 3 years?
Yes, ma'am. It is a state initiative. As you could see, it does fall under New Mexico Code. And it is the intent of the state, the district, everybody to be able to have a tool to identify areas that they can support. And I hear what you're saying as far as the finding it interesting whenever we have so much more going on. Again, I would like to say this is a survey that students take. Their interpretation, their understanding of even what self-management might mean could vary across from student to student. So we take these questions the best that we can in order to identify where the student is at, but it's through that working with the students and using those toolboxes that teachers and schools and ultimately as a district as a whole, we can meet with the student, talk to the student, build that relationship with the student, and then hopefully through that, help them understand better.
Yeah, and that self-efficacy portion, to, I guess I'd like to look at it as goal setting. And I believe that, it would probably be better if we had, a better parental turnout, at our meetings, at our schools, and but how can, do you ask yourselves how we can do that better through this, and do you offer that to those in those positions to make a difference?
I believe that by looking all of this, that is what the district is doing from every aspect in order to do that, to help them understand. And just going back a little bit, whenever you look at this particular slide, whenever I mentioned earlier that they don't have the same matrices, here you can see that for self-efficacy, there wasn't a matrix in 2026 for that, but you see the social awareness that is a matrix for 2026, and you don't have 2024 or 2025. So again, it's a little hard to notice a continuous trend from year to year if the questions and how they're measuring these different aspects aren't the same from year to year. But the way the questions are given in the survey, they fall into some of these other areas. So what was self-efficacy is falling somewhere under like self-awareness or a sense of belonging.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Metoyer?
Okay, one at a time. I know the last time that you presented this data, you provided a copy of the questions. Since they're not consistent in asking the same questions each round, do you mind sending a copy to the board for review?
The last ones
Yes, the ones.
for 2026?
Yeah, or was that the same one that we looked over the last time?
School doesn't have the question. You want the question?
Yeah,
Questions are usually the
possible.
same.
I don't think the questions, are the questions on the one with the individual schools?
I can send a copy of all the questions. The questions in each category are usually the same each year, but like social awareness was just introduced this year, so I'll just send them all. That way you have all of them.
Perfect, thank you.
That's exactly what I was wondering too, because if you just look at it in general, they're very, very loaded, obviously, and they mean something
Yeah.
to
There-
everybody
There
differently.
is so much data that is
Yeah.
available in this platform, and it's very interactive.
Mm-hmm.
So to export absolutely everything, it's just so much to take in. But I can definitely get all the questions and list them under the specific topic.
If you would, please, because for us, that's helpful.
Yep,
Because
absolutely.
then we can help to discern where the real growth is, or where we can do a lot of work. And for me, in respects to when you look at the students 6 through 12, right? Those two categories of sense of belonging and school climate, the numbers, which is obviously very low 40s, how much does that translate into student retention? Do I want to stay here? Do I want to go somewhere else? What are we going to do to change that environment? And then kind of to apply what our presenter was talking about at the back to school event about making it welcoming and engaging for our kids. So certainly from my perspective, that is one area where we have huge potential for growth for everybody in the buildings to create that kind of environment for that sense of belonging and keep them here. So I would appreciate that information being disseminated to the board so they can look at it too and kind of parse it out themselves if they want to.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll
Alrighty.
get that coming your way.
Very good. I don't have anything further, and obviously you guys kind of answered some of my questions beforehand about looking at that data and what we can do to change these things. So I appreciate it. Thank you. On to item B, voluntary pet insurance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marlena Harvey? Does that apply to res dogs too?
Okay. My slide up. Good evening, board member, president, board member Matoya, vice president Matoya, and Superintendent Carlson. So thank you for allowing me to present. One of the good topic is voluntary pet insurance benefit option. Before I start, I did some research on how pet insurance can help our staff. And since we're all about, the district supporting our staff, their wellness, holistic wellness, families, because they treat pets like their own family as well. So the purpose for my presentation is to, because I work in the benefits area, and we're always trying to look out for some perks and discounts for our employees, and this is one of them. So the purpose is to offer employee-paid voluntary pet insurance to the district. It also supports overall employee wellness, retention, and also at the same time enhances the district's benefit value. Next slide. The overview of two items that you see on the slide, district impact and staff wellness and retention. I'd like to briefly go over that. District impact, employee, this is employee 100% funded by them. So they're the ones that are gonna be paying the insurance. And this is at no cost to the district. It also directly supports staff mental health, reduces financial anxiety, and promotes whole staff and holistic wellness. It also adds value to our CCSD benefit package. This is also going to be part of our open enrollment that's coming up in October. So if employees want to sign up for pet insurance, they are more than welcome to do so. If they do not want to participate, they don't need to do anything because this is absolutely voluntary and optional for the employee. On the next section there, staff wellness and retention, because we want to bring pet insurance to our school district. It also enhances staff retention by helping staff protect their household pets from high veterinarian costs, expenses, and adding voluntary pet insurance to the district benefit package as an optional choice for them. And the highlights here, this pet insurance also covers dogs and cats. Other pets may be covered. If an employee leaves the district, continued coverage can be arranged directly with the insurance carrier. It also helps the employee. It reduces financial relief, enhances workforce morale and wellness. So big part of employee staff wellness. Next slide. On this slide here, so this is basically an example of what the pet insurance cost to the employee is. The main carrier of the pet insurance is called Unum. It's a My Pet Protection Choice, and it's provided by Nationwide. As I mentioned before, it is cost is per pet, and how it's going to work is through our payroll deduction. So as you look into the slide, you'll see there's three different tiers. There's and this is basically the employee's choice to pick 50%, 70%, and 80% reimbursement. And the annual deductible is $250. Cost varies depending on the age of pet. So as you can see, there's cats, ages 3 to 5, dog, medium, age 3 to 5. Not only that, but if you look down at the slide, there's some highlights there. The employee gets 24/7 vet helpline access, so that's offered to them and available to them. There's also like pharmacy discount savings at Walmart's and Sam's Club pharmacies. And then once an employee enrolls in this premium or pet insurance for their staff, how it works is through payroll deduction, so the premiums get deducted from their paycheck. So that could be arranged. On the next slide, how pets claims and reimbursement work? Well, it's fairly easy. There's a three-step process, very straightforward. If an employee happens to have an injured pet, they visit their local veterinarian emergency clinic of their choice. Staff pay out of pocket at the time of service. They submit a claim. The carrier will process eligible expense and will reimburse the staff according to their chosen coverage level after their annual deductible is met. So fairly simple process, and like I mentioned, it does not cost the district any money. It is 100% funded by the employee, but that's my presentation for this evening in my report.
Open up to the board. Mr. So, any questions?
I think it's a good idea. I have pets I wish I could insure. I think it's a good benefit for employees. I know people love their pets. So I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Ms. Aspas, any questions?
I guess my concern would be, would it, if everything is covered, just the fact of being on federal land, the reservation. And, but I guess we'll find out through time and would like, that reported, if any issues are regarding that. That's it. Thank you.
Ms. Montoya. Nothing?
I don't have any questions.
All right, and Ms. Haskell has joined us, and she just messaged me and said she doesn't have any questions. So I don't have anything either, but I think that's obviously an opportunity for our staff to utilize, which is a positive. So thank you.
Okay, all right,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you, appreciate it.
On to item C, vacancy report. Ms. Amrine.
Good evening, everybody. I am going to go over the current vacancies that we have within the district. And we'll just go through the report line by line. So at the administrative level, we're looking for a coordinator of special education. And then we'll jump down to the elementary schools. We've got several positions: art, dual language first and second. And these are Navajo specific, dual language third and fourth. Preschool education. And then you will see we've got a couple of positions listed in blue. We have a two preschool special education teacher positions. Both of those are in process, which is why they're highlighted blue. In process meaning there's a candidate selected and they're going through the background checks, paperwork, whatnot before they're onboarded. You'll notice that last one has a tag that it's a visa, so that's a person that we're hiring on an H-1B visa, and that visa is in process along with the onboarding. So questions on any of that so far? All right, middle school, PE, FACS, SPED, and then in process, social studies, SPED, and woodworking. The woodworking one is also a visa. And then if you'll scroll to the next one, there's high school. Stop me anytime. High school, we have language arts, band, business, gifted, and another special education. 3 of those, as you can see, are visas, but all in process. Non-certified, we've got several EAs at the special education, in the special education classrooms, and then daycare provider and a specialist for the construction in the maintenance department, a specialist for construction. And then we have a literacy tutor, receptionist, and a safety advisor in process. And actually that safety advisor is fully cleared and I believe starting tomorrow. In the ICO department, a Navajo language and culture coach, a social worker. Next page. We get into the ancillary services, diag, nurse, OT, PT, social worker, SLPs, whatnot. We do have a nurse in process. Food services, we have a cook manager. That's an internal posting. And then under operations, we have a general maintenance, a ground maintenance, a custodian in process. And last page is 2 bus drivers and a service tech.
Very good, thank you. Open up to the board. Ms. Haskell, any questions?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Aspis?
Yes, I know some of the positions show location and they're specific. What does the district-wide actually mean?
That they're servicing not just one location, that they're, let me look at one, like the diagnostician or the nurses, they're not specific to one location. Maybe it's an area like the Kirtland area, Newcomb area, whatnot. They're more of a district-wide position than location-specific.
Superintendent Carlson,
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed all the vacancies and it's very positive. But at the same time, I don't want to be in a few months or half the year come to find, have to have a meeting and talk about, financial situations and, that would cut. So, I'm hoping, that this was looked at before, presented and with that mindset. Thank you.
Mr. So, any questions?
Yeah, I was actually looking at the vacancies at EVP Stokely for the immersion teachers. Is that having an impact on students right now that are part of the immersion program? Is that affecting the instruction of students who are expecting to have like a full-time staff teacher at the start of the school year?
Absolutely. Any vacancy that we have impacts the students in one way or another. Those particular 2 positions have a long-term sub in them. The language abilities of that sub, I'm not certain on, but yeah, all vacancies would impact the students.
So what were some of the reasons why the teachers that were there before, did they just leave or move on?
Variety of reasons. We have some that are going to other districts, some that are retiring, some that want to go try out another school district. It's a large variety. I'd have to look at specifics for any of the positions.
Okay. Because I think that might be something that we have to look at in terms of trying to retain the teachers that we have in that, especially in that program, given the impact or the issues with Yazzie Martinez and some of these other things.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And, I'm sure y'all remember the retention stipend that we did at the end of the year. And I think that went a long way to help us retain the staff. And then little things, like pet insurance and, the different variety of awards and certifications and recognitions that the different departments give to staff all ties into that. But that's definitely something the district is working on.
And that's probably one of our next items on our to-do list is improving the quality of our language or Navajo language culture, the immersion program with what we got. So part of that might be improving teacher quality, teacher retention for some of those programs.
Yeah, and I think another factor that the ICO department and the schools also are dealing with is finding folks that are qualified for those positions. Not only do they need the very certain certifications, but that 520 license and as the language is being lost, it's hard to find those folks.
Okay. I think I think one of the other reports based on this is given that we started the school year, how many of our schools have long-term subs? Maybe that's the other next report is to ask is what is the number of our students being taught by substitute teachers or even long-term subs?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have 17 long-term subs throughout the schools attached to the various positions there.
Because I noticed with the immersion program that, in addition to 520, the district also requires a teaching certification. Because normally with the 520, that's not required. You don't have to have a degree to be 520 teacher.
Right. I'd have to I don't know if anybody with ICO is here to speak to the specifics of, we've got some that Heritage has different requirements than dual language. Thank you.
Ms. Amright?
Yes.
Can Dr. Begay's online?
Oh, perfect.
If we could go ahead and call on her, I think she can enlighten us a little bit more as to what's happening at EVP Stokely, and then just the general questions that are being asked. Dr. Begay, are you there?
Hi, Ate. Ano if I may answer some of those questions that were asked.
Yes, please.
Okay. Good evening, Board President, Vice President, Secretary, Mr. Carlson, and board members, those that are listening out. I just wanted to provide some clarification on the dual language Navajo teacher. So with that position, they do teach a core content, which is social studies. That's the only core content that really truly aligns to the Navajo themes that we have in our curriculum. So that's why that core content is chosen. However, because it's a core content, you have to have a license, a K-8 or K-3, depending on what grade you are at. But in addition to that, because it's taught in Navajo, you have to have a 520 licensure. And so I always say that a dual language Navajo teacher is the only person that has to have that extra credential to teach the language. So, and it's really hard, just like my grandma shared a while ago. We already know that our speakers are very hard to come by. And we have several initiatives in trying to grow our own and doing mentoring programs through different initiatives with different organizations. But it's just reality that we don't have that many speakers to call upon. And Mr. So is correct, Board Member So, that for a 520 licensure, you don't have to have a degree. You just need to speak Navajo. And we have, I think, 15 520 license holders in the district. And we have several Heritage Navajo teachers who are licensed and choose to teach Navajo. And so I just wanted to provide some of that clarification. And then those are all part of the State Bilingual Multicultural Education Program, accountability and compliance as well.
Okay. So for these teachers, I mean, these look like a very specialized type of position. Are they being paid a much higher wage because they're these specialized teachers, and they're really, it sounds like they're really hard to come by, because you have the regular 520 teachers, and then this is a requirement that you add in like a degree component as well as actual licensure.
Right. So per the way that PED reimburses us for the teachers, that that's off of the salary schedule. So by licensure level. The folks with a 520, they're on the level 1 column, and then if they have a teacher license, I can go up to level 2 or level 3, but it's all off the salary schedule. So no, to answer your question, they are not paid more.
Yeah, maybe that's something for this school and these positions that we probably should look at.
There are some stipends, now that I say that, if they're, you have the bilingual endorsement or the TESOL endorsement, we do have stipends for folks that are qualified with those. But yeah, we can take that into consideration. Of course, it all depends on the budget.
Okay. All right.
May I add something to that too?
Yes, you may.
One of the bigger factors that includes the retention or the hiring of qualified Navajo language teachers is the housing too. So that's a big factor in recruiting and retention. And so that is continuously communicated too, because the Navajo Heritage and Navajo dual language teachers are considered hard to fill position. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Montoya, any questions?
Yeah, outside of our CCSD page and any of our social media platforms, are we heavily advertising these positions with online recruiters? Are we pushing out these requisitions to people in the area? And then are we incentivizing signing up with us with bonuses, things like that?
Bonuses, no, we don't have any sign-on bonuses. But the platform that we use to post these positions is Frontline. And so it does local postings, but then it also pushes out to some larger teacher-specific job recruiting sites. Okay. And then we also work really closely with a lot of the colleges and universities in the area to have that direct pipeline. And then working on grow your own programs, having our EAs taking programs, different like with, through our partnership with Dene College, working on their degrees. So we're doing a lot of grow your own. I've noticed, if we go to job fairs, put in that type of effort, we get very little return. We go to these places and people say, Shiprock, where's that? Who are you? I wanted a job with Albuquerque, and they go by us. So we're really focusing local here in the area, and we find that to have better returns.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So with respects to teachers in general, it's hard enough to find qualified, certified individuals just to come into the general education realm. 2 or 3 times harder to find somebody with the proper qualifications, such as a 520 and a New Mexico certification, that are willing and wanting to do that. So I can understand, but still at the same time, it's just working with the local colleges through those programs that you were saying with the Grow Your Own to try to keep them here. But at the same time, I would ask that with ESS, if they have any people that can't speak it, certainly try to put them in those classes that need it. So at least they're getting some kind of communication and language development while the individual's in that room, until we can fill it with a qualified, certified individual.
Yeah, we, with ESS, we can prioritize, I guess that's a good way to say it, the subs that we choose and utilize, and making sure that they have the best fit and qualifications for any of the positions. But another aspect to that I just thought of, we recently had a meeting with ESS and reviewed all of their data from last school year, and that's another pipeline that we hire from. I don't remember the exact number, but I want to say it was 30 some odd of the ESS folks that we hire directly into the district.
Yeah, I remember it was a decent amount.
Yeah.
That transferred over. I believe Ms. Asmus has a question.
Yes, I do. Going back to all the questions and comments made by Matthew, board member. So I remember that in one of our sessions, it's not any A, but the other teachers union that is basically trying to recreate TFA type of teachers licensing and shortcut, sort of that shake and bake teacher. I don't know if you're aware of that, but with all these people or these positions open, these vacancies, I wonder too, are they in-house? Are people given the opportunity in-house to perhaps move up if they have those credentials or the certification? Have we done that first and then promote or put out to the public that these vacancies? Thank you.
Yes, current staff have priority if they wanted any of these positions, and that's been a long-standing part of the CBA since I've started 10 years ago. So we do have a lot of in-house transfers.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. On to item D, expenditure merchandise report. Ms. Gallagher. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Gallagher, yeah.
Thank you.
Is it Gallagher or Gallagher?
Gallagher. Just one G, thank you. Good evening, President Montoya, board members, Mr. Carlson. I was asked to put together some numbers on district merchandise as far as like uniforms that we purchase through district budget. So I have a summary here. Safety and security, we have 12 LSAs across the district, and their base boots and jacket are about $267, but they last them at least a couple of years. So the cost this last year was $3,204. They have polos. Each of the 12 LSAs have polos at $200 each. Through BSN, the total was $2,402. The justification behind that is that lead safety advisor positions require uniforms, including shirts, shoes, and jackets, to ensure they are readily identifiable when working at all of the CCSD sites. Proper identification of school safety staff is crucial when facing and dealing with emergencies. The uniforms are easily identifiable and ensure consistent professional dress at all times and at all activities. I did speak with Mr. Verholst, and when LSAs leave, they do return their uniforms. They don't reissue the polos out, but they use them for rags or whatever if they're worn. But they can reissue out the jackets and boots. IT personnel. We have 14 technicians in the district, and they each received 5 snag-proof polos per technician at a total cost of $3,013.50. Again, technicians need to be easily identifiable because they move between buildings, classrooms, and facilities to maintain and repair technology equipment. The consistent shirts make them easily identifiable. Professional dress code is consistent with the technicians because they are in and out of all of our buildings. Grounds, we had 6 grounds personnel that needed steel toe boots, and there were 5 of them that were grounds and one of them that's actually in a transportation shop this year at $175 for just over $1,000. Grounds personnel don't get new boots every year, but when there's wear out for what they need for OSHA standards, they get new boots. So that's to meet their OSHA standards. Human resources every year to help with retention, staff morale, and just welcoming everybody back in a way to represent our district. They give out polos or t-shirts. This last year we gave out 900 at $17.50 each for a total of $15,781.53. And again, those are used just to build morale and make everyone feel included, and we can all wear our shirts if we need to one day. So that is a breakdown of the merchandise purchased with district funds at the district level.
Obviously, you have attached the other POs in respects to some of the other supplies.
No, those are all like summarized in here.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll open it up to the board. Ms. Aspis, or I'm sorry, Ms. Haskey, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Aspis, any questions?
Yes, I believe this was my request. I'm not too concerned about, maintenance, safety boots and what they, as far as PPE and those concerns. But what I was asking is, how often and what are the costs of, such as, different departments I see where they have their CCSD logo and then also the department's, their I guess their department name and things like that, and pins and shirts, jackets. You talk about LSA. How many times have I've seen different vests, different jackets, and I thought our lanyards were adequate for that type of identification. But I don't think in all the years that we've been there, we've actually had a question asked or, a breakdown or itemized list of these type of purchases. And then even when the superintendent position changes, how many times have we seen furniture, a whole slew of furniture, which was, the last superintendent left, that those furniture were adequate and they were in almost pristine condition and it could have been reused. And so, I think this is something that we need to, as far as our financial statements, we need to keep on top of. And we do so with our sports, we do so, as far as the rotation of those uniforms, of equipment, and in the administrative area, we haven't asked those questions. And teachers, I don't, to me, I feel like, that's probably the one that's kind of left out. And then I don't see anything here in this report for our food department as well. As far as their PPE or their, what they wear when they are in the cafeterias. So, and then our janitorial. So, I just feel like, we need to watch and those days of, I know there's been more than one page. So I really would like to have this standing and to report such items. Thank you.
Thank you. And on the 900 shirts, that did include everyone, custodians, everyone. And I believe that operations does buy custodian shirts on a rotating basis, and they just may not have purchased them last year.
Right, and those are understandable, with grease, chemicals, and both in the food and the maintenance and the custodial, those are understandable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. So, any questions?
Do we get polos too as a board?
If you would like a polo, I think we have polos that we can look through. We still have polos, correct?
I'll just get a piece of tape that says
We do still
CCSD
have-
board.
We do still have polos, so I would be happy to work with Tanya to get you all polos.
Sure, I think it's a great idea. I'm supportive.
Cool. Yeah, just listen, you'll need to give us both sizes because we have like ladies and men's, so, yeah. Anything else? And on the furniture, yes, we did acquire some new furniture over the last couple of years. We did have a very large flood that destroyed a lot of furniture too, so.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
Ms. Montoya, any questions?
No questions. Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
The only, I don't know if it's a concern, but I guess more of a question. When we look at the benefits, and I'm certainly not hopefully opening up a can of worms, but when we start talking over time, uniforms, boots, stuff like that, is that considered, or would that be considered income to the employee?
If they did not have to return it, it would be. But as long as you're keeping it below a certain threshold.
Okay.
And so your LSAs, they're kind of above that threshold, but it is also required for them to return that if they leave their position.
Okay, because of the anti-donation clause. That's the only reason I'm
Correct.
asking that question, if that was even taken into consideration or is taken into consideration when we do that, because sometimes it can get pricey depending on how many employees you have over time. So if there is that threshold, obviously we have
Yeah,
to
there's a
be
yearly
cognizant.
threshold.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right, very good, thank you. I have nothing further, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you, board.
On to item 3, reports, possible board action. A, presentation, possible board action memorandum of agreement between Navajo Foster Grandparents Program and CCSD by Louisa Washburn. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Oh,
My name is Louisa Washburn, and I'm the Volunteer Service Coordinator for the Navajo Foster Grandparent Program. And I come before you to see if you guys can approve our Memorandum of Agreement between the school district and the Foster Grandparent Program. And so the MOA is for the foster grandparents. These are foster grandparents that we put in the classrooms. And so far, we've been serving Ojo El Murillo, Kirtland Elementary, Eva Stokely, Mesa Elementary, and Newcomb Elementary. And we also started with Nosh Chudi Elementary. So the only one that we haven't got to was Najoni. And so this year, we're kind of looking at Najoni, getting the grandparent in there. And so the MOA just kind of tells you the agreement. This one says 1 year period, but our grant is done like for 3 years. So we just started a new grant year, which is July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2029. So I think the agreement that we going to do today, we'll leave it up to the board, whether they want to do it a year, by every year or go with the 3-year grant. So that's something that you'll probably make the decision for this, for the school. And so there's a section here that the school will be doing as a volunteer station. But before we put our grandparents in the school, we do our own background check. And we go through what they call True Screen with at the national level. And then we do the fingerprinting. And that is something that our grant pays for. And so I think what CCSD does with the human resources, they have the volunteers do the volunteer packet. And so the grandparents will be paying like the $56 that they get their fingerprinted done, and they also get their background check. So after that clears is when they'll get a badge to go to the schools. So this year we're putting grandparents back on, but they have not started at the school because I wanted to present the MOU or MOA to the school board before we even put them back in the schools. So it just identifies what school will have grandparents, and then towards the back is where the governing board will, the president will sign, and then the superintendent also signs. And then we get it back, and then we get the rest of the signatures. So last year we had one that was just done for the year. So these foster grandparents are elders that are 55 years of age, and we give them a stipend bag of $4 an hour, and they volunteer maybe 4 to about 5 hours, Monday through Friday. And boy, they love their volunteer work. They treat it like they have work. They say, I gotta go to work, so. And those kids really love their grandparents. When you go to bashes and you'll be seeing all these kids running to them and say, Grandma, Grandma. And the mom and dad would look back and say, "Where's your grandma?" So I enjoy working with them, and I think the grandparents really miss being in the classroom. And you guys were talking about Navajo language. I know we've been working with Eva B. for the last couple of years, and we had a grandma in the Navajo language class, and she thinks the students are really learning, and she did bring out this year that her teacher, I think, moved on to a different school, and so she wanted to come back, but I just told her, hold off. So that's why I'm here today, just to present the MOA and then bring it to your attention, and we hope you pass it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We open it up to the board for questions. Ms. Haskey? Ms. Aspis?
Yeah, I wonder, do we need to consider the election, this being an election year, and perhaps what she recommended, making it a 1 year for this year anyway, in case the administration changes?
Oh, yeah.
Or I don't know, sounds like there's gonna be serious revamping of the tribal places, and so I'm just wondering, that's my question, and I think, I sure hope that we can utilize them again. I think, the biggest success story I saw was Rose Bahi, and she's since passed on. And I do agree that it's a special relationship, and it keeps our people, our elders happy, and part of the, that work mentality. So thank you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the board, and then I'm going to ask Ms. Chappelle to respond if there's any technical legal questions, just as the ones she just posed. So I'll ask again, Ms. Haskey. Any questions? Okay, no response. Mr. So?
No, for me, I'm fully supportive of this program, this partnership. I think it's a valuable resource for the district. And I would suggest 3 years. I think there's just some places to list out. It says in section 13 or paragraph 13, you probably want to list some of the sites or the locations. They're just some like technical stuff inside, but it looks pretty good so far. I've looked at the agreement inside out.
All right, thank you. Ms. Montoya, any questions?
No questions.
All right, Ms. Chappelle? Ms. Chappelle?
My apologies, I was trying to find the mute button.
Go ahead. Did you hear the question as far as, or the concern regarding the 1 year, and then with the change in leadership at the Navajo Nation?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Ms. Washburn, on the grant, who is the grant from? Is it Navajo Nation or federal?
No, we get our grant from the federal, the AmeriCorps Senior. Yeah.
So those funds will be in existence regardless of
Yeah.
who
Because
wins the election.
Yeah, because we just got our grant July 1st, and it's going to continue for 3 years up to 2029. And what they're doing is the whole 3-year grant is there, but every year from July 1st to the end of June 30th, we do our closeout, and then when we close that out, then we go to the next grant year. So it's just a 3-year grant, but we do have our money up to 2029.
Okay. And I do see that in the MOA, it says for a 1-year period starting on July 1st, 2026, but then it also says ending on June 30th, 2029. So I think what we could do, board as a recommendation, is just change that language to say this MOA is for the life of the grant. And then we can name the grant and then keep those dates. So that would be recommendation number 1. And then Ms. Washburn, on right above that where it says check the appropriate category, are you guys considered part of Division of Aging and Long-Term Care, or are you a separate nonprofit?
We're just kind of the aging program is kind of like our umbrella, kind of like our sponsoring, but we're kind of off to the side. I think it's like the grant, like the senior center program. They're more under the long-term care, where we're just kind of like a dotted line, and we're kind of sitting off to the side as a nonprofit entity.
Okay. So would it be okay if we checked the nonprofit box for you then?
Yes.
Okay. And then the only other question I had that I just wanted to run by you is at the very bottom, page, let me see. Not bottom, I apologize. It's page 3. If you see there at 9B Romanet 4, it indicates Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah, which is good. I just want to make sure that's consistent in paragraph 12, because it calls out Arizona, but not New Mexico or Utah. So board, I would request permission from Ms. Washburn just to make sure that that's consistent throughout the document.
On page?
It's 12 on page 2. And anywhere where we're talking about criminal history check, let's just make sure we have all 3 states in there. It's A12 on page 2.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing, board, that I would recommend is on page 2B6. It asks if we can provide a meal to foster grandparent volunteers or no. And so I just think it would be helpful if we provide some direction on that for the document as well.
Yeah, I would, the meal is nominal. It's not that much.
Yeah.
Yep. And I believe Navajo Nation is included. I just want to make a double quick, yeah. Navajo Nation is included in the background check in 12 and in 9B. So I think Navajo Nation is definitely covered. I just want to make sure we're consistent on the states.
Yeah, the background check is, the 3 states are covered in paragraph 9 on page 3.
Right. We just need to make sure it's added to 12 on page 2.
Yeah, that's under that subsection 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And on 13, it says provide a list of attached sites that the MOA will cover. So we probably need to list what schools, the contact persons, and just some of those, just technical details.
Yep. But board, with those recommendations, I think you can approve this contingent on those changes being made.
Okay.
I agree.
Saspis, you had a
And
question?
I personally love this program, so I'm so happy it's here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No question, I just said I agree.
Oh, okay. All right, since we can, because obviously it's very clear in the MOA, the period starting and ending is for that 3 years, and basically a subset of, as was mentioned by Ms. Washburn. We can go ahead, since this is possible board action, with the consideration of that, adding that 3 years in the language and couple of the changes being suggested by the board attorney. Would someone like to make a motion to accept this MOA?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to accept with the recommended changes.
Okay, second?
I second.
All right, vote a roll call. Ms. Haskey? Ms. Aspis?
Yes.
Mr. So?
Yes.
Ms. Montoya?
Yes.
And myself, that's 4, it has passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure we make those adjustments and changes so the language is specific.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just lastly, I think in the beginning, is it, maybe it's just a typo, is it a proprietary healthcare system or propriety healthcare? There are two, maybe you have to clean that up. Is it proprietary?
Where are you? Where is it? Sorry, I don't see
It's
it.
it's on the first page. It says,
First
please check the
page.
appropriate category. The organization is,
Oh,
it's
Or
in one of
your
those.
organization.
Is it propriety or proprietary?
it's probably propriety. Let me double check, but that's not, it's not them.
Yeah.
So, but I will make sure that that's correct. Thank you for catching that.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you for that. We can move on to item B,
Board
presentation.
President.
Somebody has a comment, Ms. Aspis.
Yes, before we go further, I had a comment here by Miss Carmelita Lowe. She says the whole administration should know requirements for dual language teaching and not depend on Berlinda to, to educate us on that. So she wanted that to be known. And I agree with her. And I don't know if, I'm assuming they don't know.
Ms.
That
Aspis?
was,
Ms. Aspis?
yes,
You said that someone made a comment. I didn't realize we were taking public comments.
yeah, that Miss Lowe.
Again, it's noted, but again, there's nothing in here to accept public comments.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
So on to, as I said.
Board President,
Yes,
I apologize.
go ahead.
Mr. So, board member, so I did check that. It should say proprietary healthcare, so we'll make that fix.
All right, thank you for the clarification.
It's a defined term meaning a for-profit healthcare organization.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
On to item B, presentation possible board action for supporting rural and indigenous K-8 students with the CW FIT program by Kelly Walker. Ms. Walker, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Proceed, please.
Awesome. Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to be here. My name is Kelly Walker. I'm a research project coordinator with the Juniper Gardens Children's Project at the University of Kansas. I'm Arikara, Hidatsa, and Comanche, originally from North Dakota, but living now in Lawrence, Kansas. So tonight, I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Howard Wills. We're here tonight to share a little bit about CW FIT and a federally funded research project focused specifically on expanding support to rural and native serving schools. So we've already been in conversation with administrators, Mr. Gleason at Newcomb and Dr. Pandora Mike at Sabit E Middle School. And tonight we're asking for the board's approval to allow those schools to move forward with this opportunity. Next slide, please. So one of the challenges we hear from rural schools is that professional development and ongoing coaching can be difficult to access. It can require travel, substitute teachers, schedule changes, or bringing someone into the district. This project is designed differently. The training and coaching support can be provided remotely, so teachers can receive consistent support without having to travel or leave their classrooms or even rearrange their schedules. Next slide. There are really 4 main goals of this project. We want to expand the CW Fit coaching model into rural areas, continue building the evidence base for CW Fit, help teachers strengthen classroom management, and make sure implementation is culturally responsive in native serving schools. That last piece is especially important to us because we don't want to assume that something developed or researched in one setting automatically fits every school or community. Next slide. CW Fit stands for Class-Wide Function-Related Intervention Teams. At its core, it's a classroom behavior support that is designed to fit within what teachers are already doing. It integrates with PBIS and focuses on teaching and reinforcing positive pro-social behaviors. The goal is to decrease disruptions, increase teacher praise, and ultimately increase student engagement. This means teachers can spend more time teaching, and students can spend more time learning. Next slide. One reason we're excited to bring this opportunity to schools is that CW Fit already has a strong evidence base. The research meets what works clearinghouse standards without reservations. The findings highlighted here show reductions in problem behavior, as well as improvements in the ratio of teacher praise to corrective statements. So we're not starting over with the untested classroom strategy. We're looking at how established evidence-based practice can be effectively expanded into rural and native serving settings. Next slide. This part of the project is particularly important to us. Historically, as we know, Native communities have often been underrepresented in educational research. That can create a gap between what research tells us is evidence-based and what actually works within the realities of Native serving and rural schools. So part of what we hope to learn through this project is how we can better bridge that gap. We do have an active partnership right now, including work with NAU, Ms. Delissa Begay, who is a Navajo graduate student working on this project to help with the cultural responsive teaching and connecting across Navajo Nation. Also with the University of Kansas and Dr. Melissa Peterson, who is the acting vice chancellor and assistant research professor. And although now she is at KU, she is a Ganado alumni. We're not just bringing something into a community, we also want to learn from participating schools and educators to help inform how these supports are implemented going forward. Next slide. CW Fit is designed to be flexible and adaptable rather than rigid or a one-size-fits-all program. Schools can align it with their values and expectations they already have in place, and implementation can support local language and cultural practices as well. The project also includes culturally responsive teaching modules and encourages educators to reflect on how culture, community, and their own practices influence the classroom environment. The goal is to work in partnership with Native serving communities rather than asking communities to adapt themselves to the program. Next slide. So how the study works, I want to explain the research piece because this is usually where there are the most questions. Teacher participation is completely voluntary. Interested teachers complete the consent process, brief surveys, and classroom recordings. Schools are then randomly assigned to either the CW Fit group or the comparison group. If a school is assigned to CW Fit, participating teachers receive the training and implement CW Fit during the semester. If a school is assigned to the comparison group, teachers continue their usual classroom practices during the period and receive access to CW Fit later. So regardless of the assignment, schools will ultimately have access to the training and the materials as well. Next slide. For individual teacher, participation is also voluntary. Participating teachers select one K-8 general education class. They'll complete some brief surveys, participate in several secure classroom recordings, and provide limited de-identified grade and attendance information. Teachers are assigned to the intervention group, who are assigned to the intervention group, complete the online CW Fit training and receive ongoing coaching and support. We've tried to structure the project so participation is manageable alongside the already existing responsibilities. Next slide. There are also direct resources provided through this grant. So each participating school itself will receive $10,000 in grant funding along with the implementation support, training, and program resources. The participating teachers receive a $1,000 stipend, an Android tablet and stand, CW Fit training materials, and ongoing online coaching and support. There are also additional opportunities for teachers to receive additional compensation as well. So we recognize that we are asking educators in school to contribute their time to this research, and the grant is structured to provide resources and compensation in return. Next slide. We also want to be very clear about student and data privacy. Parent consent is obtained for selected students involved in the data collection. Grade and attendance information provided to the research team is de-identified. Classroom recordings are completed through a secure recording platform and may focus on the teacher and classroom instruction rather than the students themselves. So this means you can take the tablet that they receive and point it at the wall, face it down. Students are not required to be seen in these videos. Protecting students, teachers, and school data is an important part of how the project is conducted. Next slide, please. So this brings me to what we're asking from the board tonight. Administrators at Newcomb Elementary and Sabet IE Middle School have expressed interest in moving forward pending board approval. We are asking for approval to invite eligible K-8 general ed teachers at those schools to voluntarily participate. This would allow us to provide interested teachers with consent and payment forms, distribute parent consent materials for the selected students, collect and approve de-identified grade and attendance information, and conduct secure classroom recordings. Approval tonight does not require an individual teacher to participate. It simply allows us to offer the opportunity and begin the appropriate consent process. Next slide. I really appreciate the board giving us this opportunity to share this project with you. We're really excited about the possibility of partnering with both schools, and we want this partnership to be as beneficial to the schools, teachers, students, and the broader community. My colleague, Dr. Howard Wills, and I are happy to answer any questions you have about the research, implementation, funding, privacy, or even what participation looks like for the schools. We thank you for your time and consideration.
I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the board. Ms. Haskey, any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I think it's a great opportunity to support our teachers, and thank you for the information.
Ms. Asmus. Mr. So.
Your presentation actually answered a lot of the questions that I had. I'd like to definitely express my support for this project, and maybe as a district we can develop like some baseline data for some of these schools to see if it does have a positive impact in terms of improving outcomes for the district, not only with test scores but other behaviors that this seeks to address. And the schools you said are Newcomb and Sepida, is that correct? TBA?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Ms. Montoya.
Yes, how many schools are currently participating in your program?
Kelly, you want me to jump in?
Yes, I was just going to pass it to you.
Yeah, we just piloted this past year, and in that pilot, the only school in Navajo Nation that participated was Ganado. We hope more Ganado schools come on this board, but overall, there will be 40 schools across various tribal nations across the country this year, and then we're recruiting for this year, and then for the next year after that, and then 1 year after that. So kind of 3 cohorts of 40 schools. And then Kelly and I forgot to put in that we do have Mr. Winnie and Navajo Nation IRB approval for this project.
Nice, thank you.
So did I hear correctly that there are other schools on the Navajo Nation that are participating?
Yes, this past year Ganado piloted, and we are recruiting several schools throughout Navajo Nation, including Tuba City, Kelly, who else, right? Their possibility. Loop LEUPP down near Flagstaff. So.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. The only reason I asked that question is in regards to the use of the word research and collection of data. And generally speaking, when you start collecting information regarding Navajo students on the reservation, that an entity would certainly have to go first through the Navajo Nation in order to conduct that research. That's the only reason I'm asking the question, but since you've already done some work on the Navajo Nation and within those communities, I'm pretty comfortable asking for a motion to accept this program.
I will make the motion to approve.
I will
Second.
second.
Loop Elementary, as I recall, they're actually one of the better performing schools. They've had good outcomes, so maybe this is part of that.
Okay, do I get a second?
I second. I second.
All right. Vote a roll call. Ms. Haskey?
Yes.
Ms. Aspis?
Yes.
Mr. So?
Yes.
Ms. Montoya?
Yes.
And myself, that is 5. The motion passed. Thank you. I appreciate the information and the opportunity to work with our schools, so I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
On to Owen, go KU too. Had 3 of my kids, they attended Haskell out there.
Oh, yeah, yep. I always like to mention I went to Haskell because I know there's always somebody in the room that either went there themselves or knows somebody that did. So awesome.
It's a wonderful
4 of our
school.
staff, 4 of our staff on this project attended Haskell, so yeah.
Excellent. They have a wonderful relationship between the 2 schools, and that is one thing that I truly appreciate. In fact, this young lady to my left, she graduated from there. Vice President Montoya.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, very good.
Well, onward Haskell. Thank you.
Very good.
If we're not needed, we'll log off, and thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you all, both. Thank you. On to item C, presentation and possible board action for United States Readers Program for Newcomb Elementary School by Herman Gleason and Stella Castilla, Director of Communications and School Partnership.
Hello, I'm very, I was not expecting this, so I just am going to explain the program, which is what Mr. Gleason had me doing. The Save the Children Foundation has provided funding for a program for Newcomb Elementary, and it consists of 5 cycles of books for all the students at Newcomb. They would be able to select 2 books from a flyer. I don't know if anyone remembers those scholastic flyers when you were young, where you would circle for books. I don't know if anyone has ever seen those. But the kids would be able to actually select 2 books 5 times a year during the school year, and they own them free of charge. There is no charge at all for this. And every teacher would receive 25 books for his or her classroom library. And we piloted the program about 4 or 5 years ago, and we've been growing. We had it all over the United States. We've actually had, I remember hearing that somebody said Tuba City. We've been in some reservations where, the program has been, implemented. So I think what Mr. Gleason wanted me to let you know what is being given to your students and teachers. And it would begin this fall. And that's really the program. And if the school would like, we are also offering, if they want, an author visit from a reputable author. And it's a very simple, the only thing we need is that the teachers are on board, that the principal's on board. And the teachers are the ones we would send the flyers to. They would let the children select. One time I'm gonna onboard everyone, meaning that I'm gonna show them exactly what to do. It's a 5-minute presentation of how to register your classroom. And then they would have 5 times, they would be receiving books, the flyers, and the children would be placing their orders, and then the next time, so it would be like October, I think December, March, might be April, May, I don't have it right in front of me. But that's the extent of the program, and it's through Save the Children who have funded it for you. And then they're funding a lot of schools in New Mexico and California. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, I'll open it up to the board. Ms. Haskey, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Ms. Aspis?
Nope.
Mr. So?
Yeah, I just want to express my support for this initiative and this project. Thank you.
Ms. Montoya?
It's a really beautiful project, it really is.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya?
No questions.
The only question I have, and am I saying it right, Ms. Castilla?
Yes,
Okay, very good.
that's amazing you said that right.
My last name
Everybody wants to call me Stella Castilla.
well, I'd be saying it wrong if my last name wasn't Montoya, so.
Oh, there you go.
With respects to what you just presented, I truly appreciate that. But may I respectfully ask that you can send an email to the superintendent with something
Sure.
in writing, so that way
Yes.
the board can have that, something tangible to read, just for a little bit deeper information to what we're looking at, okay?
Yes, I will send it if you just give me his or her information. I believe though, Save the Children have already contacted
Okay.
your,
And that's
Your,
fine. If it's there, that's fine. We can certainly make a point to get it to the board so they can have something tangible to look at and read.
okay, so I'm gonna actually tell the Save the Children Foundation to make sure that they've contacted, what's the name of the superintendent?
Steve Carlson.
Steve Carlson, okay. How do you spell Carlson? Is it Carleson?
It's Carlson.
Carlson.
Okay, all righty, yes, absolutely. It would be my pleasure, and I'm very excited for Newcomb to be part of the program if everything goes well.
Thank you for that. So if I can have somebody entertain a motion to accept?
I will make the motion to approve.
Mr.
I will
Singh,
second.
Ms. Montoya. And vote a roll call. Ms. Haskey?
Yes.
Ms. Aspis?
Yes.
Mr. So?
Yes.
Ms. Montoya?
Yes.
And myself, that's the affirmative. We have 5. It did pass. Thank you very much, Ms. Castillo.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Bye-bye.
On to item D, presentation possible board action on a request for approval of gift donation for Craig Van, how you say it? Lanningham for Kirtland Central High School and his Newcomb High School robotics by Eugene Techini and Sandra Westbrook. I hope I said that. Go
Good
ahead.
evening, Board President Montoya, members of the board, Superintendent Carlson, and our CCSD community. I'm going to be presenting the request for approval of the gift donation this evening on behalf of Mr. Cecchini, who is unavailable. Mr. Van Lanningham out of Salt Lake City is a private donor that is interested in donating their Lego collection to CCSD schools. At the time that this request for approval of gift donation was submitted, we had not heard back from Shiprock High School, which is why only Kirtland Central and Newcomb High is listed. But it is for Kirtland Central, Newcomb High, and Shiprock High School robotics program. The value of the donation is why we are pursuing board action, because it's undetermined the amount of the 700 kits of Legos that are being donated, because there are over 270,000 parts that's included in these kits. So the family would like to donate to CCSD schools so that it can be utilized by our students in their robotics or their school systems. And many of you have known that I bought Legos recently. They are quite pricey. So it is a huge donation for our schools that we would not have to purchase on our own for these programs. Does anyone have any questions?
Let me open it up to the board. Ms. Haskey, any questions?
I don't have any questions, but it's pretty great. Thank you.
Ms. Aspis? Mr. So, any questions?
No, I don't. Just to, again, to express my support for this donation, and thank you to the donors for this. For me, as old as I am, I still play with Legos. I'll admit that. I think it's an awesome donation. Thank you.
Ms. Montoya?
No questions, just wanted to publicly thank the donor for thinking of our kids and donating this collection.
Wow. It's incredible. Thank you very much for the consideration, sir. And my kids, all my kids played with Legos, and it's helped them tremendously, and my little granddaughter's doing the same thing. So I appreciate it. Tell them thank you very much. I don't have anything further. Someone like to entertain a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. So, second?
I second.
Ooh, it sounds like a tie. We'll give that to Ms. Haskey. Vote or roll call, Ms. Haskey.
Yes.
Ms. Aspis. Mr. So.
Yes.
Ms. Montoya.
Yes.
And myself, that's 4 to the affirmative, it passes. It'd be nice if we could send a letterhead to the gentleman to thank him. Superintendent, that'd be good.
So does he need like a tax donation thing from us?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that
Ms. Westbrook, Ms. Gallagher, would that be a consideration?
It could be a consideration if they want one, yes.
Okay, we certainly can ask. Okay, all righty, well, that passed. So on to item E. Presentation, possible board action on permanent cash transfer, FY '27. Ms. Gallagher?
Good evening again, board.
Again.
So what I have brought to you tonight is a list of 7 cash transfers that we need to do to clean up some residual grant balances. We start audit next week, and so we are trying to true up all of our accounts before the audit begins. I may have 2 or 3 more next week again, but.
Someone asked a question. We're still using the same audit company, correct?
Yes, I think the RFP is good for this year, and then we'll have to look at
Yeah,
RFPs next year.
if I'm not mistaken, I was trying to do the math, how many years he's done it. That's why I asked the question.
I guess for me, just real quick, could you explain the fund numbers and where they're being transferred to?
So these are grant funds that we got reimbursed for, and they have not been put back over to operational yet, for the most part.
Okay, so that's what this is?
Yes.
So these are reimbursements and they're going into the operational?
Yes,
Okay.
they're going back to operational.
What is the 28-201?
That is a CYFD grant, so we're taking grant funds from grads and transferring it over to the CYFD fund at the same school to support the daycare program at Career Prep High School.
Okay.
Okay. Very good, and thank you for that explanation too. I appreciate that. So I'll open up to the board. Ms. Haskey, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Ms. Aspis, any questions? Mr. So, any questions?
No.
Ms. Montoya, any questions?
No.
All right, I have none either, but thank you very much. So someone like to entertain a motion to accept?
I make a motion to approve all the items listed for the permanent cash transfer.
Second?
I second.
I second.
Ms. Montoya got that one.
Thank you very much, board.
Vote or roll call. Ms. Haskey?
Yes.
Ms. Aspis? Mr. So?
Yes.
Ms. Montoya?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it does pass. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. On
And
to
then
item
this
4,
fundraising
discussion
might-
items for the regular school board meeting. Any considerations at this time? If there are no considerations, we can email them to the superintendent and try to get them added.
Okay, I'm gonna email mine. I'm trying to
Alrighty.
formulate the verbiage. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Mr. So. Anything?
Not at this time.
All righty. Ms. Montoya, anything?
Not this time.
I have nothing either. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or
Also, before we move on, could I also ask if we could get a report on the Newcomb Elementary gym?
Okay.
And what the status is in repairing the damage, the timeline, what that's gonna cost, so forth, and just to give an update. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you for that. I have nothing either. And again, if you have anything further for the superintendent, please email him. Item 5, adjournment. Someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I think that was Ms. Haskey. That's too funny. Well, the roll call, Ms. Haskey,
Yes.
Ms. Aspis, Mr. So,
Yes.
Ms. Montoya,
Yes.
and myself, that's 4. The time is now 7:20. Have a good evening.
You all too. Thank you.